Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 18th of February. Continuing with Robert Murray McShane's reading plan, today we read 1 Corinthians chapter 5. In it, Paul begins by challenging the church, saying they accept in their fellowship a person who is sleeping with his father's wife. And he says, not even the pagans allow that kind of behavior. How can you do that as Christians? And then the challenge continues in verse 9, where he says, I wrote to you in my letter not to associate with sexually immoral people, not at all meaning the people of this world who are immoral, or the greedy and swindlers or idolaters. In that case, you'd have to leave this world. But now I am writing to you that you must not associate with anyone who claims to be a brother or sister, but is sexually immoral or greedy, an idolater or slanderer, a drunkard or swindler. Do not even eat with such people. And I found that challenging on two levels. On the one hand, as Christians, the church has been quite good at trying to impose its standard on the world. And yes, as Christians, we follow Christ and we say, you need to be married before you move in together. As Christians, we say we see marriage as a lifelong monogamous commitment between one man and one woman. But the world doesn't see things that way. And the Christians, we try and impose our standards of marriage onto the world. And in actual fact, we need to say the world is not going to be sort of living according to our standards, and we need to leave them. Paul says, you can't disassociate from them. They're going to be different. Carry on living amongst them, but don't let their standards become your standards. And that's what we need to remember as Christians. We mustn't impose our standards on the world. We hold our standards as a testimony to them. And then the second thing that struck me was that as a church and as Christians, we've been quite good at homing in on the sexually immoral, and we've got all these codes, and they sort of, if some woman is unmarried and pregnant, that's a great disaster, and she has to sit at the back of the church and isn't given communion, and we've done all those kind of things. We've picked on the unmarried woman. We haven't picked on the father of the child, but we haven't quite been so fastidious about homing in on the greedy. Yet they're listed here, all the swindlers, and very often the church has got people in respected positions who are wealthy because they're greedy people and they're pursuing often dishonest gain. We don't pick on them in the same way that we do the sexually immoral people. And so often we end up with this variety of compromise in our standards. And so we need to be sure that we hold Christians to a high moral standards in all areas of life. Yes, in your sexual morality, in your business morality, in how you deal with other people. Paul challenges us on all levels, and we need to be different on all of those levels. So be challenged, be encouraged, and know that you're blessed.